Chapter 1. As I peered out the window, big pale flakes unlike snow caught my attention. Definitely not snow in Kentucky in July. The television was already glowing from earlier use. A quick turn of the dial to WBLN would tell me what I needed. With excitement and dread, I glued myself to the screen 5 inches away.
Up. Overseas. Instead. Use disease. The rest. America. Everything. River. Diana.
People. They're no official. Confusion. And for concern, just communication. But clear, extreme. Then general. Good afternoon. I really want to say report. Handling that great TC. This message station.
My old television regularly struggled with poor weather, and the abnormal conditions outside were not doing any favors. I could hardly make out what was said by Diane and Richard, the news anchors. Some of the words stuck out in my fear-stricken mind. Panic, disease, no official, general, outbreak. It is hard to tell what kind of mayhem will endure, or what is already enduring outside my living room. I must waste no time in securing my perimeter. It won't be long until these flakes covered the ground completely. One final breath of fresh air before I close it up for good, hopefully. As I don't eat or drink much, only smoke cigarettes, I am hoping to ride this storm, or whatever it is, out. I should be able to stay put with my remaining food, a can of tuna and a can of fruit cocktail and sink water for a couple days easily. Barricading the door with the kitchen table is the final action I can make for my safety. Another glance out the front door reveals a couple of my neighbors standing in the weather, staring into the void. What were they doing out there? I dare not go out there and ask them myself. As I scan the channels for an indication of how problematic the signal is, I find something on turbo. I have a lot of sitting to do in my self-quarantine. We may as well watch it. Chapter 2. Another peek out the window indicated two things. The flakes turned into a gray, odorless sludge, and my possessed neighbors aren't standing out there anymore. Did they go inside? All I could think of was that news alert from earlier. What did Diane mean about outbreak? If only the weather would have lightened up, I would not be left in the dark about the issue. Perhaps it is better this way. Perhaps I am better off not knowing and left to react to this situation. Planning ahead may have possibly led me outside to get some extra supplies, and got me in more trouble than it would have been worth. I must try to stay inside at all costs, no matter the reason. Twiddling my thumbs was not much help. It is natural for me to be inside. All I did was work down the street at the pancake house on Main Street and then come home, but this is different. I was accustomed to 5-minute smoke breaks. Pacing was my last option to keep my mind off cigarettes. I might feel more comfortable if I found one on the floor. Entering the kitchen, I thought I heard something hit a window while I was rummaging around the house looking for a loose cigarette. If it was an intruder, it would be from the back of the house, I thought, so I checked that first. With no warning, something is sprinting at me from the front door. I must act quickly. Contemplating what to do next as I stand over what I now see as one of my neighbors. The blood was all over my kitchen tiles. What is this thing? Is this still the same neighbor I have seen many times before? It is clear from their bloodthirsty eyes that this is not my neighbor anymore. It broke through my front window with ease, not even making a sound, stumbling over the chair I put there in the case of something like this. I understand now what the news anchors were warning us about. What did they call it? Disease. Outbreak. Regardless, I must be cautious of the blood incus of contagion. As I stood in my kitchen, seeing the body lay there, my anxiety grew. After that dreadful experience, I had a horrible taste in my mouth, almost like blood, that, hopefully, sink water would mask. I can feel myself getting drowsy, either from being overwhelmed from the events unfolding around me or the adrenaline leaving. The last and only option to rid the nervousness of my actions was to try to rest. I may need the energy if there's more of them out there. Chapter 3. As good as new, I rose, curious how bad the weather had gotten. I didn't have a watch on me, so there's no telling how long I slept. As quickly as my anxiety melted, it appeared again when I saw a dozen of them outside my window. As fast as these things run, out the bathroom window was my only escape. I knew no one was in the house next to mine, on the account that the owner was lying in my kitchen. The front was crawling with them. And the back window was locked. Another narrow escape. I will never get used to that feeling. Hoping for an unlocked door, we will try the next house. I didn't know who owned this property, as it was 3 houses down from mine, but this was an emergency. Upon entering and closing the door behind me, I noticed the previous owner was on the floor already and wasn't breathing. The one that chased me from the next house was banging on the window, wanting in with those same bloodthirsty eyes. The sound from the window breaking would not be pleasant. I have to deal with this now. Finally safe. For now. I left in such a hurry there was no time to grab any supplies. Hopefully this dead man's house has some. A quick glance through the cupboards, I found no food. I did find, however, a rolling pin. I fantasized many times at work using one of these as a weapon. It looks like it is finally becoming a reality. Carefully walking over the 2 bodies in the living room so as to not get the blood on me, I head up the stairs. The first door was the bathroom. I checked under the sink for band-aids or rubbing alcohol. None whatsoever. The next and final door was the bedroom. From the angle I saw him in the living room, he didn't look like a hiker, but he had a hiking bag in his wardrobe. If I could find a cassette, this boombox could come in handy as a distraction. The only downside was it was very heavy. I had to carry it with one hand. How did they find me already? Preparing for a fight, I put the boombox on the floor. With the weapon I felt more prepared for the task of survival. I opened the door to get them off the glass, and they sprinted at me from a blind spot. Just as I got the door closed, the window popped. Back to the door, rolling pin in hand, holding them off was my only chance. There was no way I was outrunning them on an empty stomach. 1 down. And 2 more. No more were coming. I had to take my chance while it was here. Having looked for any food I may have missed, I headed out the back door. I found a dirt path. This has to lead to the road. It does, but further down there's another one standing over what seems to be his kill. There's more everywhere. While frantically looking around, I ran right into a wooden fence. One of those creatures starts grabbing my feet as I jump over. Immediately on the other side, one is already on top of me. I pushed it off, but at a cost. There was a deep scratch on my shin. The pain was intense when I moved. Before I knew it, a horde more appeared. This is the end.